What is up, everyone? This is the latest edition of CINEMATALKEry on YouTube. My name is Robert Wolkenbrad, and we are here to discuss a movie that isn't really related to the Oscars, which wrapped up on Sunday. This we are talking about tonight is Birds of Prey. Yes, Birds of Prey, the latest installment in DC's world of movies, whatever you like to call it, the extended DC Extended Universe, the DCEU. It's the reboot of it. Over the past few years, whatever you want to call it. Birds of Prey arrived on Thursday, February 6th for previews, and then had its full release on Friday, February 7th. It's the first DC movie since Joker. But we're not exactly going to classify it in the same group as Joker, or I should say, we're not going to classify Joker in the same group as these movies, since they're not in, since that Joker, at least you don't think, is in the same world as this. It was under the DC Dark label. This, of course, Birds of Prey was not. Settling in along the lines of Aquaman, Shazam, then the previous Suicide Squad, even though we're getting another Suicide Squad. Which is all essentially a reboot. It settles into the world of that. Birds of Prey, I saw it on Saturday night. I enjoyed it. I thought it was a fun movie, and I'll get into my thoughts in a second here. But overall reaction critically right now it has an 80% on Rotten Tomatoes. I should note that it started with 93%. That number inevitably drops down over time. As more reviews come out. The reactions at first seemed overwhelmingly positive. Of course, that's going to change with any movie, or most movies. Some keep up their reputation, but Birds of Prey took a little bit of a dip, but 80% is still, it's cool. It's a cool number. That's as of the night of February 10th. On IMDb, it had a 6.7 out of 10, that's okay. Means viewers who voted on it thought it was an okay movie. Metacritic gave it 60%. That's not so great. It's average, but you still want to see something a little better. You probably want to see something above 70%. So that's not great. 84% of Google users like the movie, which is good. Portion, I mean, it's an okay portion didn't like it, but it's gonna happen. If you want to compare that with the last movie that came out, Shazam, just go by the numbers there. Shazam has 7.1 on IMDb, 90% on Rotten Tomatoes, 71% on Metacritic, and 91% of the people of Google users like the film. So it's going to range with everyone. Yeah, that happens. It's going to range by the movie. And we'll actually get into our DC movie ranking later on in this. But yeah, let's just jump into my thoughts on the movie here. So, what worked? I want to say what worked. Now, I enjoyed a lot Ewan McGregor. You probably know him as Obi-Wan Kenobi in the last not the early 2000s Star Wars prequel episodes. Know him from, go through down the list of all the stuff, but I thought he was a terrific villain. He made his intentions pretty clear. That, and I should note too, we are going to drop a few spoilers in here. It's just kind of inevitable. So just that's your fair warning on that. But yeah, Ewan McGregor was I thought was a great villain. He laid out his intentions very early on about wanting to get that very expensive diamond out of Cassandra Cain, and it rolled from there. And they laid him out initially in the beginning as this devious, violent criminal in Gotham City, with cutting off faces, and not pretty, but but he's got the ball rolling with that, and from there he was good. He was a good villain. Um, I like the new cast that they put in place, uh, alongside Margot Robbie's character. I was a big fan of Mary Elizabeth Winstead as Huntress. You can just, even before even going to the film, you can just tell that she was going to bring this cool, kind of awkward vibe to the character in a way much different from the Arrow version of Helena Bertinelli, that you may have seen on the CW show that recently ended. Um, it, I love the take that Mary Elizabeth Winstead put on this, and I wanted to see more of it, which I'll get into that soon. But I enjoyed the side role she put into this, and I loved the path to the origin story that they told, and hell, there was enough in here to even give her her own separate movie. Now, I don't think that would happen. That's just my guess here, because because DC could go through so many different avenues, so many other characters to explore. They may not need a separate Huntress movie, especially if they do more with Birds of Prey after this. But I love the character. I love the vibe it gave off that she gave off, and yeah, I wanted to see more. And hopefully we'll get more. Yeah. I also enjoyed Journey Smollett Bell as Black Canary. Now, she played a little more of a vital role in the overall plot, I would say, when she was working alongside, um, as Dinah Lance. She was not Dinah Drake, which was pretty notable because Dinah Drake, is her mother, who in who they were playing off was killed, and she took the name Dinah Lance, which is different from what you see in Arrow, and it's actually a blend of the names of the Black Canaries in it. If you're accustomed to the TV show, for comic book fans, you probably have a little bit of a different take on that. Um, but she played a little more of a vital role to the plot, having been Black Mask's taking over as a driver, or even like a personal assistant at some points too. Um, so she's a little more interconnected there, but I liked it. I liked her area in it too. Um, let's see, the introduction of the little Cassandra Cain, the character, did that role was did it filled what was necessary as just this person who, or just a little kid who's just very devious and like stealing things, but then you also grow to root for her by the end of the thing, especially some of the weird witty humor that we'll get into shortly soon too, of of her just like swallowing a diamond and having to use laxatives, and not working to kind of crap it out. And then you had Rosie Perez as Renee Montoya, the cop, the Gotham City cop who ends up quitting her job. Um, Rosie Perez is always good in what she does. She was a good piece along with this group here, and I don't. Yeah, she was just good. I don't have anything else really to say there. Um, but then you have to get into, of course, the centerpiece of it all, Margot Robbie, who returned as Harley Quinn, and she just makes this character her own. She gets her own vehicle in this. Of course, it's Harley. It's Birds of Prey. It's her thing. It's her vehicle, and she runs with it from the beginning. I mean, you know it is her movie. It grows into everyone's movie by the end of it, but right off the bat, they establish that this is a movie that is going to focus on the Queen of Crime. So you get her with the egg sandwiches. um, you get what she's been up to since Suicide Squad ended a couple years ago, which of course as it showed, Jared Leto is gone. Or at least they confirmed what everyone pretty much suspected by now, that Jared Leto is never going to come back as the Joker. I'm okay with that. I'm sure other people are okay with that. His Joker just never clicked. And it's not even trying to compare it to previous iterations of the Joker, even Joaquin Phoenix from October. Jared Leto's Joker was just weirdly designed. It just never fit in a bad movie, and it just never stood out. It had trouble standing out, even though it was focused in on character. Never liked it. Never worked. Jared Leto is moving on to Morbius already, which comes out this summer. Good for him. He's staying in the comic book world. Maybe, hopefully for him and Sony's Marvel world, it will do good, but we'll see. But he was not missed in this whatsoever, the Joker. Not at all. But anyway, this was Margot Robbie's movie as Harley Quinn, and she really grew into the character as more of this likable figure who you get behind by the end of the movie. You might not like her to begin with, just because and we'll get into soon about the beginning, but as the story carries on and you see the emotional investment she puts into Cassandra and into other aspects of the film, you really start to appreciate this person, or this anti-hero, who goes from using I guess it was rubber pellets almost to shoot at cops in a police station, to trying to fend off Black Mask and going from there. And the humor too. So the close off, what I liked, the humor too was I thought was good. At first, before I saw the movie, I saw it had Deadpool-ish humor. I think that's what some reactions said. I was a little worried about that. That was too much. If that was going to be too much of a stretch or not. While I wouldn't say this was full-on Deadpool humor, I did enjoy some of the witty laughs in it that I had. I thought I had a good time with some of the jokes and how they played off. Made it for a light movie when it needed to be, and more serious when it needed to be too. Sometimes there's maybe a little bit of an awkward balance, but overall I think it was effective. Now, unfortunately, we have to go into what did not work. Now, there's a smaller list of what didn't work for me here, including the first act. Though it was a little clunky, it was trying to find its way, its direction, bouncing from whether it was what Black Mask was doing, Harley Quinn, how she was trying to move on from everything in her life after Suicide Squad. It was all over the place, and including trying to introduce other characters too. It was so much trying to go on in such a short time, because this movie was a crisp 1 hour and 48 minutes, I think, which is a lot shorter than superhero movies have become. I actually think this could have used another 10 minutes or so to help flesh things out a little more, and I could see the kind of pace that director Jan was going for here, but thought it was a little too packed, and that I think that brought down the first act, and then of course everything opened up afterwards. But they tried packing in a lot, and I thought some of it just didn't work. Without going too much into detail, because I don't want to spoil the entire movie, of course. But just missing a few things. Of course, you have to introduce new characters, which I can sometimes be hit or miss with how they're explained. And overall, I thought the explanations of these characters were pretty good. But packing everything, along with where Harley was and Black Mask and what he's doing, and other characters having their issues with Harley Quinn, just too much going on in those first probably 20-30 minutes or so. So I didn't love that. Black Mask, while I did enjoy Ewan McGregor as Black Mask, I kind of wish we found out a little more about him. I mean, you knew he was just this this overlord, this criminal overlord of Gotham. Um, I wish there was a little more of his background, maybe a little more, just for. I mean, we knew his motivations already, but then again, too, if they explained more about him, then it could have clogged up this opener even more. So that's why I think this film really could have stood to use an extra 10, even 15 minutes to push it a little over the 2 hour mark. I think that could have helped it out. People may disagree with that because sometimes people want shorter, more crisper films. I thought this was a very crisp film as is, and if there was a little more uh, put into explanations in the beginning, or maybe a little bit of a better pacing, I think this would have been this would have been a much better opening. Um, I wanted, see, at the same time too, going into having a little longer movie, I wanted more out of um, particularly Huntress. I thought I was left wanting more, and while you can sometimes see it as a good thing, I also kind of found that a little bit as a bad thing, because I thought she was the most fascinating character of any of the add-ons to the Birds of Prey joining Harley Quinn. I wanted more, and yes, we did get the Bertinelli crime, the assassination. That's not really any kind of secret that that was going to be included in there, if based on her comic book history. But you had that go full on in there, and I just I wanted a little more. I wanted just maybe not even her background, but just more of the modern day Mary Elizabeth Winstead. I wanted more of her in the story because I wanted more balance out with Journey Smollett Bella's Black Canary. I wanted that because I thought we got a little more of her. So that's not a bad thing. That's not a bad. I'm not saying that's a bad thing whatsoever. But I wanted to see these characters on equal footing, and I thought we got plenty of Rosie Perez in there too as Renee Montoya, and same thing with Cassandra Cain. We had plenty of them in there. I want a little more of Mary Elizabeth Winstead just because she was just so good with this awkward, awkward humor that she was in there, while also pulling off that serious vibe too, and she was just fully believable as badass, um, this badass anti-hero. I would have wanted more out of her, but that's just me. So I guess you can call this a negative, but we have to go into the box office. Um, but something I also don't see at the same time too that's a negative is the early box office results. Now domestically, you may have seen this by now, but Birds of Prey opened up at 33 million, which compared to the estimate it was going to get of 50 million might seem like a letdown. It's still number one at the box office. It's probably going to be number one at the box office for a little while. I even think too it's going to fend off the Sonic movie coming out on Valentine's Day. I'm just not sure how many people are interested in that really. I don't even know if I really even want to do a video on it. Well, I'll have to see when the time comes. But I don't think 33 million is bad. Um, but in the landscape of previous superhero films to come out in awkward times, like I mean, well, Marvel's its own machine, but it put out Black Panther in February 2 years ago and made over $1 billion. Joker was put out in October and made over $1 billion. I said previously, I did not expect this movie, Birds of Prey, to make over $1 billion, but I thought it could have made 500, 600 million. I think that was my guess. I don't think it's gonna make that at this point. But right now, along with the international box office, which has been pretty good at 46.5 million, it's at 79.51 million to an 84.5 million budget. And by the end of its run, I could see it getting up. I could see it at least crossing 250 million. Um, and I'm just kind of curious why it's not doing better. Maybe, I mean, I'm just providing my own speculation here, but anything from marketing, I thought it was marketed well. Maybe the title was a little clunky and maybe threw some people off because it was Birds of Prey and the I think the fabulous emancipation of one Harley Quinn. It's a little too much, and they actually ended up renaming the movie to Harley Quinn Birds of Prey, just because Harley Quinn's the familiar face out of everyone there. Maybe that will sell more. I don't know if that has anything to do with it. I don't think that was a problem. But and I do think people wanted more of. I'm just saying. I'm guessing. I thought people wanted more of Harley Quinn after Suicide Squad. Uh, but you have to remember too. February is also an awkward month for films. I mean, it's January and February because it's just usually you get a lot of clunkers put in here. A lot of films are just going to be forgettable and just left to rot. Birds of Prey was I don't think was intended to be that, but and I think it was trying to slot itself, or Warner Brothers was trying to slot it into a pretty dead period for movies, and I don't think that was a great call. Um, or I mean, it was a risky call, but it just didn't work out. Uh, it's not like a Marvel film that could slot in there and make $1 billion because that was just being inevitable. Um, but if it was going for April, it would have had to face the next James Bond movie. If it was going into May, it would have to face Black Widow, and then you have the summer is always packed in June and July and on. I believe Fest 9 is coming out at some point during the summer. And you have so many other films that are going to hit theaters that clog up the spring and summertime that would have just pushed Birds of Prey further and further, or it would have had to go head to head with something that it would might lose out to, which would make it look bad. So that then again, I could see the February release, but you gotta keep expectations realistic too on its overall output, and maybe 33 million domestically isn't a. I don't think it's personally that bad, but people are looking at it from the original domestic projections and giving it a bad rap. I don't think that's a great thing. I certainly don't think it whiffed. Um, did it? Is it a great thing that didn't meet expectations? No, but I don't think this was a swing and miss by far because it's gonna cross its budget. I don't think that's an issue here. It's just everything else about the box office. It's just everything else about how it's being perceived, and I hope that's not a turn off to people. Um, I hope not, because sometimes this negative publicity can turn people off. But it's not about the film quality though. Unlike what's it called? The last X-Men film to come out under Fox banner. So yeah, well, we'll see how it plays out into its second weekend and on. It's something to monitor. Maybe we'll do another wrap up of that at some point, but for now, um, I'm not too concerned. I do still think that Birds of Prey still it's gonna more than make up what it cost to make in the budget. Um, Another aspect too I wanted to drop in here was the idea of world building. Now we've seen, of course, a lot of world building with Marvel, building this gigantic universe through different multiverses, or just one big multiverse, um, and you see that in almost every Marvel film. In this film, yet while yes we had the introduction of characters, we didn't exactly get world building, which I thought was okay. I thought that was okay. We did not need uh, the 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 concept of world building to continue to be pushed forward, which and it lets DC be its own thing. We didn't need all these different connections and tie-ins to other things. Yeah, there was one or two little Suicide Squad drop-ins, but that's not really extending anything. That's more of um, just making a few small mentions to say, hey, they're still in the same universe, blah blah blah. There was nothing to build off it because it was a very contained film. It was in Gotham City. There wasn't too many. There wasn't really, I don't think, any outside references really to anything that was just like, oh, that's a teaser or a hint at something, um, which is perfectly fine. I think Birds of Prey was fun being its own thing. It had enough on its plate to establish a few characters and carry on from there. So, I no world building, perfectly fine. We didn't really get that in other DC movies under this reboot as much. Um, or I should say we had that a little more maybe in other DC films, but not in this. Which is, like I said, I'm good. I'm good with it. Now to cap off here, well, actually no, our second last topic. I want to go into this if we'll get a sequel. I do think we will, despite some of these box office concerns. I think we have to get something that maybe that's going to play off everything here that was established. We get a more, I mean, even though I won't spoil the ending, but I do think we're going to get a movie with everyone together. It would just wouldn't make sense otherwise to face whoever they're going to face next, and that's when they become this one harmonious group of anti-heroes and heroes in Gotham. So I think we'll get a sequel. Probably not for a few years because Margot Robbie's busy with all different kinds of films. Um, you have Mary Elizabeth Winstead's probably busy, and Rosie Perez, and on and on and on. Um, but to get everyone together, of course, yes, schedules and whatnot. So I if I had to predict anything, maybe we get a sequel by 2023 or 2024. I haven't seen anything about a sequel just yet because it's been more the conversation's been more dominated by the box office talk. But we'll see. We'll see. Maybe we'll get some chatter or rumors within the next month or two. So it's something to monitor. To close things off now, I want to get into my DC film ranking. Now, if you have your own DC film ranking, you can drop it into the comments below. This is my own thing. People will disagree, of course, because everyone disagrees with everything. Everyone's got an opinion. That's why I'm here. I got my own opinion. You can agree with it, disagree with it. It's your choice, up to you. So I won't go too quickly. I won't. No, excuse me. I won't go too slow on this, just because you've probably seen DC film rankings before. It's going to be nothing new or crazy, but you might want to see where Birds of Prey slots in. So, number 8, I have Batman vs. Superman Dawn of Justice. Frankly, a terrible film. Not good. Boring, slow pace, questionable ending, all the above. Too many other things to go into right now. So it's 8th. Suicide Squad's my number 7. It had one or two moments. Margot Robbie and Will Smith were by far the standouts of it. Everyone else was kind of a dud. Story was a dud. The villain was a dud. And this was not good. And there's a reason why we're getting a rebooted Suicide Squad in 2021. Number 6, I have Justice League. Justice League, another bad film. I was actually looking forward to it at the time. I thought it would be kind of cool to get Wonder Woman and Batman and Flash and Aquaman all together under one banner. Unfortunately, it did not work out whatsoever. Oh, I'm forgetting Cyborg too, and Cyborg. It didn't work out. And it was from all the problems backstage with Zack Snyder moving away as director and Joss Whedon coming in and making so many different reshoots just weeks before the film was supposed to come out. It just made this awful, clunky film. I just didn't know what it was, and it was just in a bad spot, and it failed. It failed. It was a critical flop. It was a financial flop, and yeah, we're 2.5 years since it, and it's a shame it's that forgettable, but it's that forgettable. It sucks. Number 5, I have Man of Steel. Fine film. It was okay, slow, a little boring at times. I don't have too much to say about it. It was just kind of there. Aquaman number 4. This was a dumb but fun movie. Uh, yeah, Jason Momoa got his own avenue to go through here. They introduced some other characters. It was just a pretty silly film, but yeah, I had a good time. I had a good time with it. 3 was Shazam. Shazam was probably the most family-friendly film of any of the DC films. It was good, wholehearted fun. Not particularly strong characters, maybe, outside of course, Shazam, but it has a few nice surprises, and I enjoyed it. 2, I have Birds of Prey, for everything I've already explained. And number 1, I have Wonder Woman. I think Wonder Woman stands head and shoulders above everything still, even with all these releases of the past couple of years. Wonder Woman is the queen of the DC movies right now. It had the biggest emotional impact. It had the best storyline. Maybe not the best villain, because Ares just fell flat, especially the end reveal fell very much flat. But otherwise, Wonder Woman stood out. Gal Gadot, awesome. The role was meant for her. Patty Jenkins, hell of a job setting up this film in World War II. Chris Pine, Steve Trevor, fantastic. Wonder Woman is my number 1 film of the DC films as of the DCU's creation with Man of Steel. So I think that's gonna do it. And if I want to give myself, or if I want to give a star rating for Birds of Prey out of 5, I'd probably give it a solid 3.75 stars. I think that's fair. I don't know if I'd go as far as call it a 4-star film, but it was very good. I had a good time with it. Not perfect, not a perfect film at all, but I had fun. I'd see it again. Maybe I'll see it again. It was one of my favorite DCEU films, and hopefully we get more to build on with Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn and these other characters down the line. So thank you for tuning in to this latest edition of CINEMATALKEry. You can follow me on Twitter at RealRobWolken. You can see that right there. You can also subscribe below. I need to get to 100 subscribers to change the top there, the URL, which is, again, as I've said in previous videos, an old URL from when I first made this YouTube channel years ago. So I want to do that, and I need your help. And so far, thank you for supporting this channel. We've been getting some traction with a couple of videos, including our Oscars videos, the Birds of Prey pregame show, which is of course kind of relevant now unless you haven't seen the film, and many more that's been talked about and still to come. So we'll see what's next, and thank you for tuning in. Go see Birds of Prey, which is out now in theaters everywhere.